rise up and solve the great challenges of our time. We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome everyone to A Free Solution, and happy Inauguration Day. I know some folks aren't happy about it. Not sure exactly that I am either. Can we just not have a president for a little bit? Would that be cool? Would we all be all right with that? No, it's too late. Joe Biden was sworn in a few minutes ago. Was watching his inauguration speech, watching everything go down. So, yeah, we got a new president. Joe Biden is in, giving a very nice sounding speech calling for unity. But, because of the occasion, I did want to take the opportunity to kind of split this show into two parts. And, we'll see how it goes. I always kind of go with the flow, right? But split this show into two parts. I want to talk about, what the promises were for Trump presidency, whether or not something like his presidency could happen again, the good and the bad, and what I wish I would have seen out of that. And then I'll spend kind of the second half of the show talking about Joe Biden and what I'm worried is going to happen under a Joe Biden presidency, what I hope happens, and I want to hear from you as well. What do you wish you saw out of a Donald Trump presidency? What do you think went well, didn't go well, looking back on the last 4 years? And then moving forward with President Biden, what do you hope to see out of that? What are you worried is going to happen with that? So we're broadcasting here until 1 o'clock here on WYSL. So give us a call, 585-346-3000. If you want to participate in the conversation, I want to hear from you. Again, what do you wish you saw out of a Donald Trump presidency? Good, bad, ugly, what we did see. And same thing with President Biden moving forward. What do you hope to see? What are you worried about? What do lovers of liberty need to be vigilant for in a Joe Biden presidency? And I know it's a lot. But I want to hear from you. 585-346-3000. Or, of course, comment online. We're listening. We're live on Facebook on A Free Solution, on the Kevin Wilson page, on Twitter, and on YouTube as well, where you can subscribe to our show. Let me know. 585-346-3000. All right, so, of course, the big thing with President Trump, though, one of the last things a lot of presidents do is they release their pardon list. So I always look very closely at that. Who's going to be on that pardon list? Is it filled with cronies? Is it filled with people worthy of pardon? Did the big profile names end up making it to that list? And I was pretty disappointed to see that Edward Snowden and Julian Assange didn't, nor did Ross Ulbricht make that list. Again, Edward Snowden revealing back in 2013 that the NSA was spying on American citizens, taking metadata from our phones without a warrant. They're using the FISA courts to do that. Something that impacted President Trump himself. And Edward Snowden revealed this program and is still living in Russia in exile, because if he comes back to the United States, he'll be arrested. President Trump could have pardoned him. He chose not to. Same with Julian Assange, who has also revealed some of the crimes of the U.S. government, things that happened in Iraq and elsewhere. He also helped reveal some of the shenanigans going on with the Democratic National Committee. Was part of all that. Could have gotten a pardon. Right now, the American government is still trying to extradite him, trying to bring him over here to face charges. Could have happened. Could have given this guy a pardon, someone, who was fighting for transparency. Didn't happen. I know Ross Ulbricht's a little bit of a different case because there's the idea that he created Silk Road. He's also accused of some other stuff too that's a little bit trickier to get around. He's accused of trying to hire someone to kill someone. So I can get him not wanting to do that. I can get him saying oh, maybe not. But he probably is facing a much harsher sentence than maybe he deserves in a lot of cases. But President Trump could have done that. And it was talked about. He talked about doing this stuff. he talked about standing up to the deep state. You know a great way to stand up to the deep state? Pardon Edward Snowden. That's what he could have done. And apparently, and so far I've only seen this on CNN, so take it for what it is. I'm not sure if it's 100% or not. But apparently, Donald Trump was considering pardoning Snowden and Assange, but decided not to because Senate Republicans were pressuring him to not do that and threatened to vote to convict on impeachment if he pardoned those folks. Now, if Donald Trump is supposed to be the warrior standing up to the establishment, standing up to the swamp, standing up to the deep state, why didn't he defy them here? Like that, like one of the few things I really want President Trump to do was to legitimately stand up to these snakes. Because man, some of the people like Mitch McConnell putting pressure on him to do that, to erode our civil liberties through the NSA, through these other agencies that are spying on us. That was Donald Trump's opportunity. That was the biggest promise of a Donald Trump presidency. Something that pulled a lot of people who are libertarian into saying, well, maybe we can get something good out of this. Maybe this is a legacy that Donald Trump can leave. And instead, he chose to be a coward in this moment, to possibly face a conviction after leaving office. Because he's done. He is officially over for President Trump. The Senate could still vote to convict or not convict. They could bar him from future offense. But imagine what a legend he would be if he said, you know what, I don't care. While I still have the power, I'm going to do the right thing. Pardon these people. Now, there are a lot of other folks that President Trump pardoned as well that were absolutely deserving, that, you know, they were facing significant prison time for nonviolent drug offenses. They were rotting in prison for a whole number of things, a lot of which had to do with just selling and trafficking a small amount of drugs, and they were there for decades. And President Trump pardoned it. So I don't want to ignore that. So that's the stuff I'm really happy about. That's the type of stuff that I felt like President Obama didn't do enough of and President Bush didn't do enough of. They could have used their power to pardon. They knew, maybe not President Bush, but at least President Obama knew the issues with the drug war. They knew the issues with the criminal justice system. They had the power to be able to do something about it, and they chose not to. Again, that's why I made the joke at the beginning of this episode of why can we just have no presidents for a while, because man, they end up being so disappointed. And that's why, you know, I never go into any presidency expecting them to be our hero, to be our savior. The only people who are going to improve our lives, to protect our republic, to make sure that our communities are strong, it's all you out there. It's all you listening. We have to be vigilant. We have to look out for each other. We have to make sure that we're constantly fighting for liberty. Don't look for politicians to go and save you. They ain't gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. No one is going to be our savior. We just have to go and do it on our own. We have to start making sure that we fight for liberty in our lives, and we have to slowly take back the power of the state to be able to erode liberty piece by piece. And we are getting some comments as well. So I got one from Michael Cardella Jr. with regards to Trump, which he had been better on the national debt and on foreign policy. He campaigned on debt reduction and a more non-interventionist approach to foreign policy. The debt increased. We still have military bases all over the world, and drone strikes increased. Two broken promises that I'm very disappointed in. Michael, me too. Again, we went from, what was it, $18 trillion in debt to now 27 trillion. I think that's what we are now. I'll have to go look at the debt clock. But Donald Trump was saying in his campaign back in 2016 that, oh, he's going to get rid of the debt. He's going to figure it out. He's going to get rid of it in his 1 or 2 terms. Well, that didn't happen. Now, and we can't just blame that on coronavirus either. It's not just the spending bills that happened recently. It was going up and up and up and up even before that. In the regular spending bills, he never pushed that issue. Not once. It was a promise that I don't know he intended to keep. It was something to string along us libertarian and free market types to keep us in the coalition. I'm not sure that libertarians and free market types are in the Republican coalition anymore. I'm not sure that a lot of us are, where we just, the people like me who are like, oh, well, I'll stick with the Republicans when they're good, but they don't have my undying loyalty anymore. And when we come back, I'll talk about the foreign intervention stuff, too. All right, so thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Give us a call if you want to tell us. We're talking the first half of the show, stuff we wish President Trump had done, stuff that we're happy President Trump did, or anything else on your mind. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We'll be back with more from A Free Solution in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
When you've been seriously injured in a car crash, you need a lawyer who knows how to beat the big insurance companies. Call me and I'll take them on so you can focus on your health and family.
Car crash, call Salino. Salino, call Salino. 888-2020.
Main Street, Rochester. A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. First half of the show, we're talking about Donald Trump, the legacy he's leaving, what I wish he had accomplished, the good things that he did accomplish. We're just talking about all that stuff today. If you want to participate in the conversation live on air, give us a call, 585-346-3000. And by the way, if you want to just call in and leave a comment, you can do that too. You don't have to come live on air. You can leave the comment with the producer, and he will just tell me. So that's an option too if you don't want to actually go on air. That's fine. Or leave a comment online too. And shout out down the line to our friends listening over at WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot down the Southern Tier. Appreciate you being here as well. Thank you for listening. And so, again, we're talking about President Trump's legacy, what he did. And by the way, some of the other weird pardons that came up too. Steve Bannon came up, who had been accused of defrauding some folks, and then Lil Wayne, who was convicted on gun charges. They got pardons, so good for them, I guess. So I just wish he'd pardon Snowden, at least Snowden, and probably Julian Assange too. Should pardon those two. Missed opportunity. All I'm saying. The foreign intervention stuff. President Trump, when he was giving his address the other day, he talked about how he didn't start any new wars, and for that, that's good. He didn't start a new war. He almost did with Iran when he assassinated General Soleimani last January, which seems like an absolute eternity ago, given the year that we've had. But that was only a year ago. We could have been going into a war with Iran. But unfortunately, President Trump also didn't end the wars either. We had an opportunity to end the war in Afghanistan, which is, again, coming on its 20th year. 20 years in Afghanistan with no clear mission on how to move ahead. And he had started to, after he had lost the election, started to move towards more aggressive troop withdrawal. And it looks like that's probably not going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen? He left enough in where the Biden administration, which made no promises to end wars overseas, could just stay in there and increase troop levels. They could do that anytime. Again, another opportunity where President Trump could have put America first. Could have said, America first, bring the troops home. We don't need to be in these places anymore. Let's end these wars. And he chose not to. It's another broken promise that I'm incredibly disappointed he didn't keep. We finally had an outsider. We had an outsider who wasn't tied to the military-industrial complex, wasn't a normal politician, who was speaking to these important issues where I think the America First populists like President Trump and libertarians like me agree, and we overlap. And the issues where he could have acted unilaterally and just done stuff, where constitutionally he didn't need to wait for Congress to respond, wait for Congress to react, wait for them to pass a bill and come together and work with Nancy Pelosi. He didn't need to do any of that stuff. And he chose not to act. He failed in his promise. So, and I bring all this up just to say, we are going to have more politicians who are going to run and do the same thing. We're going to have politicians who run on these same issues, on criminal justice, on making sure you stand up to the deep state, on making sure that we're putting America first and not getting involved in unnecessary wars overseas or ending the wars overseas, because I don't have much confidence in the Biden administration to do that. I'll talk about that more in the next segment, but I don't have much confidence in them to do that. When a politician makes these types of promises, we need to hold them accountable. And I think that there are some people, and I do know some kind of small libertarians who didn't vote for Trump because he didn't keep some of those promises, again, on limiting the deep state, on protecting our civil liberties like he promised, on ending the foreign wars, on doing something about the national debt. Failed promises make it harder for you to win re-election. I don't know that that's the only reason, but it definitely is part of it, for sure. There are other things, too. He talked about eliminating the EPA, cutting the EPA. Well, great. The budget got cut a little bit, but the EPA is still a very powerful force in our government. The ability to develop and implement regulations without Congress is still alive and well, not just in the EPA, but in bureaucratic agencies and executive agencies all over. So we still have that with us. I mean, there's the whole wall thing. He did promise to build the wall. There's a few miles of wall built. I was never crazy about the wall in the first place, so I'm okay with him not keeping that promise, but we paid for it. It just got shifted out of the military budget. Mexico didn't pay for it. Come on. There's a really great list, too. I'm looking at a list right now from Libertarian vice presidential candidate Spike Cohen, and I retweeted that last night. So follow me at Kevin Wilson ROC if you want to read some of the other promises that he put up. Stuff like he's not going to take vacations like Obama did. Of course he did. I don't care about him golfing all the time. To me, I would prefer if presidents spend half their time golfing, because every time they're golfing, they're not creating new regulations, taxes, and other harms to the American people. Just spend all of your time doing nothing. But I hope Joe Biden does that. Just go golfing the whole time and don't hurt us. Can you just leave us alone for a bit? Let us run our businesses, run our lives. Man, is that too much to ask? Probably is. We're not going to get that. Hillary Clinton, not in jail, too. That didn't happen. She is still out and free. President Trump did keep his promise to impose new tariffs in the country. We got the tariffs. We have tariffs on China. I don't think that was the best way to deal with the China situation. There are some legitimate issues with China. The stuff they're doing with the Uyghurs is awful. The stuff they're doing with what we call intellectual copyright issues. The Chinese state-owned companies are stealing ideas and products from American companies, producing them themselves, and then prohibiting American companies from selling those same products in China. That's a problem. No one likes that. They're not playing by the rules. I get trying to find ways to sanction China. The way to do that, in my mind, is to do things like the Trans-Pacific Partnership to make sure that we're making good deals with countries around the world to facilitate trade and excluding China from that process until they start playing by the rules, to encourage other countries to trade with us and isolate China so they can't. So they have an incentive to want to participate in that system, so that they're leaving too much money on the table. They can't practice autarky even in a large country like that. They need to engage with the world. And right now, we're doing it on their terms. And I think we're actually less well positioned to do that now than we were a few years ago. I don't think the plan worked to impose tariffs. And I think it wasn't rooted in that. I think it was rooted in nationalism and not an economic sense. But we still have taxes. We still have, I don't know, we still have all sorts of the nastiest parts of governments that plagued us during the Obama administration and the Bush administration. We still have the wars. We still have the debts. We still have the imperial presidency. And if there's like one thing that I'm looking forward to in the incoming Biden administration, is that Biden is not that charismatic. That in the same way that there's this cult of personality around President Trump and President Obama, where I think people were so excited about the idea of them that even when the promises that they made fell far short of what they actually accomplished, I think a lot of people were blinded by that. Biden is not that charming. He's not that, well, he's a little bit charming. He's not that interesting. I think that a lot of Democrats are skeptical of him. I hope that there is a more critical look at what President Biden does, even internally, that there's not this fierce loyalty and elevation among Biden supporters that we saw among President Trump. Like, no offense, folks listening too. I think that partisanship can blind you to the areas where we need to hold our politicians accountable. And it's hard because you're trying to be loyal to them while at the same time fighting the other side. I get that. I get, because I'll do that sometimes too, and I'll catch myself doing that. I'm like, well, I can't criticize X or Y libertarian. I can't criticize Joe Jorgensen because, well, I don't want to hurt her when we're trying to fight everyone else. But we need to. If we want to keep our republic, we need to. Not President Trump's done. He's over. And I'm going to stop talking about him. Unless you want to talk about him. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. But unless you guys want to talk about him, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about what I hope to see out of the Biden administration and what I fear is actually going to happen. All right, so we'll be back here on A Free Solution in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the voice of liberty. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. For tonight, we'll have mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures will briefly dip into the teens, low 20s, and slowly rise towards morning. Nothing more than a flurry or two. Thursday, not as cold. There'll be a bit of a breeze, maybe a snow or rain shower in the afternoon. Temps in the mid-30s. Colder weather returns with numerous snow showers, minor accumulations on Friday, with temps falling back into the 20s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
At Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Anthony Drive off Route 96 in Victor. They're helping you drive safe during winter weather and save big at the same time with 4x4 security and Jeep quality and luxury. For a limited time, lease a 21 Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4, $199 a month for 42 months. A 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 is just $279 a month for 36 months. Lease a 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4x4, only $159 a month for 36 months. Or a 2021 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4 is $179 a month for 36 months. The 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited is just $309 a month for 39 months. Jeep, America's iconic four-wheel drive brand. And Victor's got a great selection. $2,500 cash or trade and other conditions apply. Be sure to get full details from the dealer. Equipment and MSRP vary by model. We're here to fully serve Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Shop with confidence and safety and full CDC compliance. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6560 Anthony Drive in Victor.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Open Door is a great place because it helps you with your whole self. It's not just about the addiction. For me, it's been just getting in touch with that little boy who never really grew up. I don't feel like I have to save him anymore. I can just let him live. I don't have to be afraid. And I can't think of anywhere else I would want to be to do that. It's safe, it's challenging, but it works.
Go to opendoormission.com. A healthy smile has health benefits beyond just teeth. It's whole body wellness. Don't live with broken, missing, or failing teeth. Lakeview Dental can restore your smile with state-of-the-art dental care. Their approach is providing reliable, comfortable solutions for the long term. Eliminate those endless visits to deal with recurring problems with your teeth. Address your dental concerns once and for all. Find out more at livoniasmiles.com or call 346-3028. Lakeview Dental, for the smile of a healthier you.
I'm gonna take you down.
Not if I level up first. Hey, honey, you're on speaker.
We need help. There's no hot water. Again.
Call Taylor. 500 help.
Tony says call Taylor. 500 help.
Taylor's who we call for heating and cooling help. We need a plumber.
Taylor can help you with that, too. Heating, cooling, and plumbing. Call 500 help.
Tony, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Thanks for getting me into hot water, pal.
Hey, what are friends for?
Taylor. 500 help.
Your Livingston County Department of Health knows when it comes to the COVID vaccine, you've got questions. Currently, New York's in dual phases 1A and 1B of the corona shots. If you're over 65 years old, you're eligible for the vaccine. You can check your personal status by visiting livingstoncounty.us/1207/COVID-19 or call the Department of Health at 877-280-6775. 877-280-6775. Locally, call 243-7299.
This is WYSL's Andrew Battisti, the voice of Red Hawks basketball. All of us at WYSL would like to congratulate Roberts Wesleyan College for winning this year's NCAA Division II Award of Excellence for its partnership with Golisano Children's Hospital. We are all very proud of the Red Hawks basketball players, coaches, and staff for receiving this well-deserved honor. Follow Roberts Wesleyan basketball all season on the WYSL stations.
WYSL.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being with us, whether you listen to us on WYSL. We're here till 1 o'clock doing a live show there. Or you listen to us over at WACK out in Newark, or WENY, the Patriot down the southern tier. Appreciate you all, and appreciate our friends listening online, too, on the Free Solution Facebook page, on my Kevin Wilson Facebook page, on the YouTube channel, A Free Solution, or on Twitter as well, wherever you're listening. Thanks for being here, and let me know what's on your mind, too. Again, 585-346-3000 if you want to call in, or leave us a comment online as well. And two other things about Trump, because it's just come up in other conversations that I've had with folks in the last couple of days, is, well, do I think Trump was the worst president ever? No. Look, I'm critical of Trump. There's some things he did good. He did reduce some regulations. I liked his rhetoric against the deep state and against war. Didn't carry it out. But was he the worst president ever? No, not even close. FDR might take that from me. Maybe Woodrow Wilson. Probably between those two. They're both just really bad. I know everyone wants to give FDR because he was president during the World War II and during the Depression, but also he interned thousands of people based on the race alone, and for that, yeah, you don't get to be a good president when you build internment camps. Pretty uncool. And Woodrow Wilson, we did all sorts of terrible stuff. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on the worst presidents ever, but I think right now those two might be near the top of the list. And then, the other thing that I've got with a bunch of people, I brought up some of these issues, that my disappointments with President Trump on my Facebook page before, and I've been discussing this with a few people, sometimes in comments and sometimes privately. And like, well, Trump couldn't do this because, he had a Democratic Congress, or deep state was against him, or whatever. Listen, I really like what President Truman did. He said, he had this thing on his desk, said, the buck stops here. He is accountable for what happens among stuff that he is in control of. The buck stops here. President Trump did not apply that motto to his life. He constantly made excuses for why he couldn't do stuff. Oh, he picked someone who's for his cabinet who is terrible. The Democrats are stopping him. There's always a reason why he couldn't act. Well, the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of stuff he could have done unilaterally because he's the president and because he appoints people to their job. He could have just done it, and he chose not to. And he made excuses for not doing it, and that's not something I want to see in the president. There's stuff he can't control. There's stuff he shouldn't control, and then there's stuff he could do, and you're making excuses about. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that President Trump could have made a good impact on fall into that third category. I know a lot of stuff he couldn't control is what it is. Fine. We can discuss that. But a lot of it's the pardons, the wars. He can't totally control the debt situation, but he could push back on it a bit more. Could have done more. That's all I'm saying. Next time we see an outsider get elected president like this, I hope they do more. Because I don't think President Trump's the worst president ever, but I am disappointed in some of the promises that he wasn't able to keep. And then we have Biden. And I've seen this sentiment around a few places that this is going to be going back to politics as normal. And President Biden is going to be predictable. It will terrible in predictable ways. That he is going to be bad, but we're not going to be surprised with the type of bad that he is. We kind of know what Biden's about. He's been in politics for decades. He's been a senator for, what since like the 70s? He's been around a bit. So at this point, I'm probably not going to be too surprised by where he's coming from. We might be surprised by where the Democrats lead him. I think Joe Biden is one of those, he's a rusty weather vane type of politician that wherever the political winds are blowing, he's going to kind of slowly move towards there. He's a lot more susceptible to that type of popular pressure. But in that approach, he becomes more predictable. And he's not going to say anything weird on Twitter, probably. And most of the weird stuff he says will probably just be funny and not dangerous. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though, because President Trump sometimes, and I know even my Republicans friends sometimes are like, man, President Trump, why did you say that on Twitter? What good does that cause at this point? President Biden, probably not going to do that because he knows how to carefully calculate and craft a message. He's not going off the cuff. He's not organic. And there are drawbacks to that, but he is perfectly crafted PR machine, except for when he throws out weird gaffes. Which, I don't know. That's all we can expect. And again, this isn't me saying that I respect Biden for that. I'm just saying his terribleness is going to be much more easier to follow than President Trump, who I could sometimes not predict where he was going to go. And so what I would like to see out of the Biden administration, though, is the same things that I wish President Trump had stuck to. President Biden wanted to end the war in Afghanistan when he was vice president. Didn't really make a thing of it this election. Never really promised it much. He could do that, though. He's going to be the big man. He's going to be the guy calling the shots. He can end the war in Afghanistan. Wanted to do it during the Obama administration. Didn't really agree with the surge that President Obama implemented there. And that was kind of a well-known thing. He could end that. He could just do it. Say, okay, go to Joint Chiefs of Staff and say, give us a plan to get out of here in 6 months. Or whatever the timeline is. A year. We're going to do that. We're going to start doing it. And I would be fine if it's not like a big news thing. He doesn't make a big deal of it. Just quietly starts implementing it in concert or not with the Afghanistan government or whoever. We need to come home. Stop all the wars that we have. I'm curious to see what President Biden does with immigration. And I know maybe this is unpopular, but I think immigrants are a good thing. That we should make it easier for folks to be able to come here to bring their talent and their money over here, because there are a lot of folks, people in other countries who want to come here to start businesses. Because despite all of the messy, nasty regulations that we see in New York State, in many parts of this country, it is still better to do business here, even with all the terrible regulations coming from the federal government and many state governments like New York. It is still better than a lot of other countries. It's still better than Hong Kong is right now. It's still better than a lot of African countries. It's still better than a lot of European countries. There's opportunity here. So if immigrants are overseas and they are well educated and they want to bring their money and talent and start business over here, it should be as easy as possible to do that. And for other folks too. Other folks, if you just want to come here and you want to live your life and do your thing, cool, great. I'm fine with that. I hope to see some movement on that front. I want the free movement of people. Now, again, if you are coming over here and you commit crimes or whatever, I think that's different. Okay, deport people. In the Obama administration, by the way, ended up deporting more people than President Trump did. So my progressive friends, Biden's not going to be a hippy-dippy liberal on this stuff. Ain't going to happen. But he can kind of soften some of the edges, and I think the mistakes that President Trump made in going way too far in limiting immigration from people around the world. I think that was a mistake. We should want to make it as easy as possible to come here and to join with other business people and with Americans to pursue their dreams. That enriches all of us. It's a good thing. Biden probably won't do that, but he might. He might be better than Trump on this one. And the other thing that I hope to see is a restoration of civil liberties. Now, I'm going to talk about this in the next segment because what I think is going to happen with civil liberties is just the opposite. I think that we're going to see a significant threat as we start to go into a domestic war on terror. All right, so we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some of the other worries I have about the Biden administration coming up in a minute. But if you want to participate in the conversation, let us know what you are worried is going to happen. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. 585-346-3000. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks so much for joining us. And before the break, I was talking about what some of my hopes were for a Biden administration. In addition to kind of protecting civil liberties, which I am not confident in, they also talk about criminal justice reform. In fact, he talked about it in the parts of the inaugural address that I watched. And I'll get back to the civil liberties thing in a minute. But you know what? One of the things that the Biden administration could do, you're serious about criminal justice reform? Well, you have the power to pardon people, anyone in federal prisons. You're worried about criminal justice system? You're worried about people who are either innocent or don't deserve such a harsh sentence, rotting in prisons? Well, don't wait till the last minute to start pardoning and commuting people's sentences. You're like, well, should this 24-year-old sit in prison for, 30 years for trafficking a small amount of cocaine? No? Okay. Great. Just do it. Don't wait till the last minute. That's what President Obama did. He did pardon a bunch and commute a bunch of sentences, wait just till the last minute to do it. I want to wait 4 to 8 years for that to happen. You're serious about that stuff? Just make it happen now. President Biden could do that. Today. He could do it this week. He won't, though. It's not going to happen. And what I think is going to happen is that despite a speech in which he talked about unity and bringing the country together, I wrote down one quote, said, without unity, we're going to continue to explode in outrage. Is that what his base wants? Is that what he wants? Does his base want to forgive, forget, move on? Or are they looking to punish? Are they looking to root out what they see as a core evil in this country? Are they going to move ahead with new sets of domestic terrorism laws that are going to increase surveillance of our communications, make it so it's more difficult for social media to allow unorthodox opinions on their sites, to violate the Fourth Amendment even more? That's what I think is going to happen. And again, when they have these new domestic terrorism laws, it's not just going to go after the really nasty people, the white supremacists, the racists. If people are actually doing violence and good police work and warrants, capture those people and stop, violence from happening, cool, I get that. Do it the constitutional way. Police departments and the FBI and everyone, they already have the tools to do that. They have arguably more than enough tools to do that. Probably too many. Constitution-violating tools. They want to expand that further. Just a little bit more erosion of our civil liberties, a little bit more erosion of our Fourth Amendment, a little bit more erosion of the Second Amendment, which Trump was also horrible on. You think Biden's not going to look at what President Trump did in using executive orders to ban things like bump stocks and looking at it for other issues as well and not say, well, he did it. I could do it too. And Republicans will make us think about it, as they should. But in the name of fighting racism and calling it and calling for more laws on domestic terrorism, they're going to erode the liberty of all of us. And it's going to hit people too that they didn't intend. It's going to hit Black Lives Matter activists too. That's how it's going to be used. And then the libertarians and progressives be like, see, we told you this was going to happen. We told you the state would do this. Of course, no one likes that. No one likes that guy. No one likes us being like, oh, we told you so. Everyone's just mad about that. But, y'all, in 2 years, I'm going to be saying I told you so. I'm going to tell you that these laws that might get passed under the urge to do something in response to January 6th are going to end up impacting us all. My worry is that his agenda and Kamala Harris's agenda to do something about that is going to further erode our liberty. I got another comment here. I'm cautiously optimistic that under the Biden administration, we will start to see the end of marijuana prohibition. We might finally see it removed as a Schedule I drug, and Congress may pass something to decriminalize it at a federal level. I hope so, too. I mean, it's one of those things. What was it, that Churchill quote? You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after every other option has been exhausted. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel about the marijuana issue. Like, it's so popular to just get the federal government out of this right now. We're up to like the mid 60% of just leave it to the states. Leave it to the states. Let's try federalism for once. But of course, Joe Biden was an old drug warrior, so who knows if he's going to go back to those ways now that the spotlight of the election is off of him, or if he's going to drag his feet like President Obama did. Is he going to actually do the things to make the country a better place, to pull the state out of our lives? Nah, probably not. But maybe. Hey, it would be nice. Maybe it's inevitable at this point. And he could do something again about this day one. The federal, the executive branch could just, change the schedule too. They have some power to stop enforcement of that. President Trump increased the ability of the DEA to crack down on marijuana sales early in his term. We could change that. Change the policy. Just get the DEA out of it. It's heading in that direction, and hopefully that journey is complete. And we can look at, con artists like Governor Cuomo, who's now being like, I've always supported this. No, you haven't, man. The only reason marijuana isn't legal in New York State is because Governor Cuomo drug his feet. He did not want to have this happen, slowed it down. He could have passed it this year, or the last budget year. He could have passed it the year before. Oh, no, we got to work out the details. If he twisted some arms and put some pressure on his cronies in the Senate and the Assembly, he could have done it. Didn't happen. So other things I'm worried about with the Biden administration is the economic stuff. I mean, that stuff seems obvious, right? We have pushes on the left for increasing minimum wage at the national scale, not taking into account local conditions on the ground. We have pushes from the left to cancel rent, which, again, the Trump administration essentially allowed the CDC to put a moratorium on evictions. Comrade Trump did that. Of course the Biden administration is going to do it because the Republicans didn't raise a stink about it then, and he'll just say, well, we're going to continue the Trump administration policy of putting a moratorium on evictions through the CDC. Essentially, have the CDC regulate landlords. How on earth does that work? How is that constitutional? Thanks, Comrade Trump, for giving us that legacy. The Biden administration is going to continue that. And we're going to see, we may see something. I hope this doesn't happen. I keep seeing rumors of this happening. I don't know that's confirmed. But like, if they do a national mask mandate, listen, you should probably wear your mask in a lot of situations. It's appropriate in a store. And if a private business asks you to do it, just do it. Don't be a jerk. If a private business says, this is our policy, do it. Why would the federal government need to do a national mask mandate? That doesn't make a lick of sense. Conditions on the ground are different all across the country. How is it going to be enforced? How is it going to work? How do they know that we need that in every place, especially once the vaccine starts to come into play? How long is the mask mandate going to be in place? Hopefully they don't do something that's too bad. Right now, they haven't done it yet because Biden's been president for all of an hour. And, I don't know what damage he's caused in an hour already because I've been doing this show. We're going to see. Y'all haven't texted me in or commented in any new executive orders that have come through. So I assume everything's still the same. But I don't know. We're going to have to watch this closely. Again, I think it's a good thing that Biden doesn't have that same cult of personality, but it's also going to be because the left isn't loyal to him. They're going to keep pushing him on those economic issues. They're going to keep pushing him on greater regulations of social media companies, of minimum wage, of rent, of all this stuff. That's going to be the big danger here. It's also going to be the civil liberties stuff. That's what we're going to have to be vigilant for in the Biden administration. Some good stuff may come out of this. It might. I'm not super optimistic about it. Again, I didn't particularly like Trump. I was pretty critical of him. I'm not exactly excited about Biden either. What I want to see is us individuals not looking for politicians to save us in the fight for our liberty in our local communities. All right, thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. I'll be back on Friday, and you can hear Larry Sharp here at the same time. Larry Sharp here at the same time, same place, here on A Free Solution. We'll talk to you then.